Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. We are back. It's good to be back. Got an interesting one today. Gonna work out some Cam Thomas trade options. I said a while ago, I don't think Cam Thomas will be here. I didn't know if he'd start the season here. Yesterday, he took down all the net-related stuff from his social media. Is this it for Cam Thomas still? And has Cam Thomas played his last game as a member of the Brooklyn Nets?
I said it a while back. I was kind of like at the 55% mark of him coming back, 45% that he was leaving. I think I said that a couple of days ago. At this point in time, it feels more like a 60% he's gone, 40% he comes back. The only reason why I'm even giving it such a high number for the comeback is because everything kind of shows that we're at the point where he's going to try and screw us in some form of way. I was doing some more research on it yesterday. If he was to accept the qualifying offer, accepting a qualifying offer as a restricted free agent means that you have a no trade clause for that year, meaning he has to accept any deal if we were to try and trade him. And I think that's kind of where they're trying to go, is he's going to try and make it as hard as possible, as ugly as possible for this team to move on from him while trying to also get paid. And I think that that's going to ultimately screw the Nets in the long term, which is why I'm at the point where I would more so look to work on a sign and trade. But yeah, at this point in time, I don't see a reason as to why he is on the roster. It's not anything against him or any reason that I don't want him here, outside of the simple fact that the front office has shown that they don't want him long term and that he is not willing to be here long term at a reasonable price with how this market is. So I think it's best for both sides to just move on at this point. It's clearly not a fit. It's not a long term fit. I've said that all along, and it's just coming a year earlier than I thought it would.
I think it's for the best that we get rid of him now, as opposed to losing him for nothing if he takes the qualifying offer. Which, shout out to Pete, Net fans, told me a year ago he thinks Cam Thomas is going to take the qualifying offer, which I laughed at. I said, "There's no way he's going to be back on a qualifying offer." And Pete kind of like shrugged his shoulders. It looks like he's going to be right, or he's not. He's not going to be back at all. So I wonder, if he takes a qualifying offer, would that qualify for a sign-in trade? Would he be allowed to be signed and trade? He'd have to approve it. Would that be allowed?
Yeah, he would have to. He would have to approve it. And that's the problem, is when you're in that position where you feel disrespected by an organization, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure they don't get anything for you. And I think that's kind of where things stand now. Is, will the Nets price go up for him to where he is willing to accept it? Are they going to give him a multi-year deal to where he's, here long-term and sustainable? I doubt it. And that's why I think we're going to be in this position where you can start to see some ugly details going in and out of this year with him. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully they get it resolved, whether that be him here on a similar deal to what they're offering, but for 3 years with a player option, or just a simple sign and trade, something to get him out of here. So this way we don't have to worry about, him trying to screw the organization.
I want to play both sides of the argument here.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Thomas has more 40-point. This is a factual list.
Oh my God, I saw it.
More career 40-point games than ISO Joe, Jimmy Buckets, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, Manu Ginobili.
And
those are Hall of Famers.
And I got to ask immediately.
Let me play both sides.
He's not better than any of them.
Let me play both sides. In his career as a starter, he's averaged 24.4 points a game on 44, 35, 88 splits.
Below league average.
24.4 points a game would put him, if we're just using last year's list, would put him at 13th between Cade Cunningham. Oh, that's the playoffs. Never mind. I'm a professional at this. Hang on 1 second. It would put him at 24.4. Would put him tied for 12th, right behind Steph Curry, tied with Kat and LeBron James for scoring last year. That's where that would put him. Outside of last year, he's not really been an injury issue. Last year was an injury concern. Prior to that, he has not. He scored off the bench. He scored as a starting lineup. He scored as a secondary option. He scored as a main option. Give me one other guy who's averaged 24, 3 and 3 on 44, 35, 88 shooting splits who did not get the bag.
I mean, I'd have to know the recent free agents over the past 5 years to kind of give you a better answer on that.
The answer is, as far as I could find, it would be nobody. I want to play both sides of the argument here. So is
again, when were those markets though? Because that's the big reason why this is happening. This isn't about what he deserves and what he doesn't deserve. It is what does the available market show he deserves currently based on who else is available with cap space. Like there's really no both sides to this. That's the problem. It's like, oh, you feel you're worth something in a market that doesn't exist. Sorry, bet on yourself for the year. Or just
I was going to take the B side on this too. I was going to take the tail side of the coin too. I was going to argue both sides.
Yeah.
So that's the argument for him. The argument against him is nobody in the league wants to sign him. You're only worth what you're valued at. If no one values you, they don't want you. It's like, I have a baseball card worth $5 million. Can you sell it for $5 million? Well, I can sell it for $2 million. Your baseball card's worth $2 million, right? Like, it's what it is. If you can't, you know what I'm saying? If you can't get that price for something, it's not worth it. No one wants to sell him. Nobody wants to pay him more than. Is anyone offering him anything?
Not a single team has offered him a contract. You can't dictate your own value when not a single team has the cap space to pursue you, nor has pursued you. You just got to take what you can get.
He is not efficient. He's not a playmaker. He averages 3 assists a game. He's not a playmaker. He averages almost as many turnovers as he does assists. If you want that to be a playmaker.
But he believes that he's an elite playmaker, in quotes.
And Paul Pierce believes he's the best scorer to ever live, or whatever he said.
Ridiculous, man.
I love the confidence, but it's evidently not true, right? Like,
yeah, there's a difference between confidence and then arrogance, and what you're seeing on his end at this point is arrogance. I understand if you were putting up, 26, 5 and 5 on, 48 plus, 37 plus, 85 plus shooting splits, but you're not. You're putting up below league average efficiency numbers in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. It's slightly below league average. And he's putting up 23.5 a game. You can't call it elite when it hasn't shown any forms of elite. It's at star level in terms of the scoring numbers, but it's not elite. And like I think we throw that word and term out way too much, too quickly for people. Like, he's not an elite player, not yet. Hasn't shown it. He's going into year 5.
A single elite team, I think he fits in on. Could you imagine him going one-on-one in a drill package for Golden State with Steph Curry? Same thing there. It's like, give me the damn ball. What are you doing? Yeah. Put him on the Knicks. How does that work with Jalen Brunson? Put him in Denver's offense with Joker and Jamal Murray. How's that look? Give me the offense on the high caliber playoff team where he looks good on. The only one maybe I can think of is Memphis and Detroit. And I don't know if we're considering Detroit a high-level team, although I think they'll be very good next year.
Yeah.
Maybe he works there because you have a big 6'7" power forward who plays point guard, right? You got this big beast of a dude who can handle the ball, can defend multiple positions. So he can kind of cover up Cam Thomas's warts.
Yeah.
Detroit's won. I don't know if we want to call them a high-caliber team. They haven't won a playoff series in, I don't know, 25 years. That's the one team I would look at. And then the other would be Memphis. Does he have a fit anywhere on any good team? And this is the problem. They said he's empty calories. He's 25 points a game for a bad team. Yeah. What is he on any good team? I'm asking a serious question. I'm not hating. I just built him up. Now I'm going to tear him down. What is his value to any good team? A good team.
It's a great question. That's the problem right now. You haven't seen him in a big sample size as a premier starter to really dictate whether or not he fits in on any of these teams that are ready to contend as a starter. So you can't. Like, there's no... And again, this is the problem. Claxton faced the same situation a couple years back where he was at a borderline defensive player of the year caliber, but wasn't really fully developed as an all-around player yet. He took a 2-year deal, and he proved himself in terms of being that top-tier defensive player, which did ultimately earn him his contract. Does he deserve that contract? Probably not. But Detroit came in and offered him a similar contract, which is why Brooklyn had to pay. That's the difference, though, with Claxton and Thomas. Not a single team has the money nor has shown interest in signing him straight up through free agency. So you can't dictate your own market when you don't have a market. The only market that is looking at Cam Thomas is the Nets. So it's not about hate. It's not about thinking that he's not good enough. He's not worth it. It's just simple business. And I understand some people don't understand that side of sports because some people are just fans. There's difference between, guys who are fans and people like us who kind of look more deeply into the game. But that's just the truth of it. You don't get to dictate your market when nobody else wants you. So he doesn't get a say in what his value is currently because he hasn't proven it. Now, if he was to be, right there in all-star voting, played 70 games this season, averaged, 24.5 points on 50, 37, 88 splits, then you're talking about a different story. But he didn't. And he played 22 games and he did it inefficiently with 23 points per game. It's like you can't really dictate what you want when you haven't earned it.
Again, he's more 40-point games than the legends we just named. When he started, he's 24 points, 24.4 points a game, 44% shooting, 35% from three-point range, 88% from three-point line. Last year, I know it's a limited sample size. His true shooting was the same as Spider Mitchell. It was.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, you can argue this either way you want to argue it. How he's perceived in reality is the latter. He's not.
Yeah. And my other problem too with the advanced numbers, the only advanced numbers that I really use is per 36. I think the true shooting percentage is beyond stupid because it makes a player look like they're shooting better than they actually are. What was Donovan Mitchell's actual field goal percentage? Can you tell me? Was it better than Cam Thomas's? Because at that point, I don't care about
probably.
Yeah.
But I like the true shooting because getting to the line and hitting your free throws counts for something. Like it does. Like if you're not hitting your shots that day, get to the line, get easy shots. It's I'm a effective field goal percentage and true shooting. To a degree, I value those stats. I do. Last year. All right, are you ready? Last season, his shooting splits were 44, 37. That's a lot higher. And then free throw percentage, 82. So it was 44, 37, 82, as opposed to 44, 30, 35, and 88. So it's a little higher on the free throw percentage for Cam and a little lower on the three-point percentage for Cam. But there's not that much difference in the efficiency. Now, that is a down season statistically for Spider. Spiders had much more efficient seasons, like 22, 23, when I thought he was an MVP candidate. He had 48, 39, 87 splits. Cam Thomas will never have 48, 39 shooting splits, ever. Do we agree on that, guys? And Spider averaged 28.5 points that year. So that's something that Cam Thomas will never do. So I'm not trying to make the argument that Cam Thomas is as good as Spider Mitchell. Of course he isn't. But what I'm saying is no one has put in this tag on Spider Mitchell that he's an inefficient scorer. That's my point. So why do we put Cam Thomas in that bucket? Cam Thomas made, I thought, an interesting point when he said, I'm a bum, but they double me from tip. They do. They do double him from tip.
I was going to say Zach Lowe responded to it and gave an incredible point as well, because we know you're not passing the ball.
It's
it's such a pointless argument at this point as to who's right, who's wrong in that situation. Because again, you are not a star. A star player is somebody who has, by definition, made an all-star game in the past 3 seasons. As of this past season, Ben Simmons is no longer considered a star, but 2 years ago he was, by league definition, right? Same thing goes for Cam Thomas. He is not a star. He has not shown to be a star because he has not made an all-star game. So the words elite, all-star, star, superstar, these words get thrown around left and right for anybody. Like, I love Trey Murphy, but there's New Orleans Pelicans fans who think that he's a star right now. He's not. Not yet. He's closer to a star than probably Cam Thomas is, but he's not a star yet. And that's what I'm just not understanding with the whole debate is we're kind of going in circles on similar conversations, trying to pick which side's right. But at the end of the day, everything is about the business end of it. And the business end of it shows that he doesn't have a market. Not a single team has cap space. He is not a star, and he has not proven to be a star. So how are you going to come in and expect other people to give you what you feel you deserve when you haven't earned it?
Well, has Jonathan Kuminga earned 25 plus million?
No, and he hasn't gotten it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Josh Giddey just had a year in the second half of the season where he genuinely looked like a star.
Josh Giddey has earned his money, and I think they should give Josh Giddey $20 million. We'll get to Josh Giddey. But go ahead, I want to make you point, but remind me.
I was going to say, is he worth $30 million right now? Probably not, just because he didn't do it for a full season. But are you talking like 24, 26 million? Yeah, that's pretty fair for Josh Giddey. You're talking about a guy that can give you 18, 8, and 8 a night. That's prime Ben Simmons numbers. Like, yeah, that probably deserves 24 to 26 million. 30 million, probably not. Especially on a 3-4 year deal. Yeah, probably not. But if you're looking at, like I said, the 24 to 26 range, you give it like a 3-year deal, player option. Yeah, that makes sense. But that's my point is there's guys who deserve certain money and there's guys who don't. And when you are below average in efficiencies all across the board outside of free throw percentage, when you are below the level of all-star caliber scoring, 23.5 points isn't just that's not considered an all-star. You're like a star at that point, but you have no other star aspect to your game, which is why you're not a star, which is why you haven't made an all-star game. So again, it's like, what is a realistic price range for Thomas that's probably fair? Currently with this market, 16 to 19 million. That's what I would give him at most. And that is more than fair. But if he's complaining about 14 million on a 2-year deal, a team option where he can become an unrestricted free agent the year following, or he can be traded after they accept the option, that to me shows greed. That to me shows arrogance. That you haven't proven anything and you're complaining about millions of dollars. Like that's pathetic.
Well, we're talking a vast difference out. Last year, we were talking about should we extend him at $25 million a year. He went out and he scored like he always scored. He just got hurt, right? Like if he had played 65, 70 games, would this be a different conversation or would it still be the same conversation?
No, it would definitely be a slightly different conversation.
It would basically be the same, though, wouldn't it?
Like, are you talking 25 to 30 like he was demanding? Still no.
Yeah.
I would still say no. Because again, if these are the efficiencies that you put up in an entire season on more of a sample size, and you still put up the same amount of points per game, again, that to me, and you didn't make an all-star game nor a reserve nothing. To me, that's still not worth anything north of 25 million. Not even close. Like now you're talking maybe 21 to 23 million. And those small, 1 to 3 million in difference in pay is a big difference when you're trying to maintain cap space long term. So, some people are like, oh, well, if you give him 22 million and he wants 25, why don't you just give him 25? Because that's a big difference. You don't lock in money that you don't want to give to somebody. So to me, again, like, yeah, he could have played more games this season and put up the same amount of production, but no, I'm still not giving him anything more than 23, 22 million.
I wanted to pose this question out to y'all. And you guys say we should just give Cam 25 million. Who is more valuable to a basketball team, Josh Giddey or Cam Thomas?
Josh Giddey. It's not even
okay. Close. Has Josh Giddey gotten 25 million?
No, not as of right now.
Okay, so if Giddey's not getting 25 million, how the hell is Cam Thomas getting it?
Yeah, but that's my point. Like you have players on the market currently who have proven to be better players in terms of impact on winning or just overall play. Giddey, a better overall player. Quentin Grimes, a more impactful winner on Philly. Like, there's really no say on his end. We all like Cam Thomas, but there's genuinely nothing that he can do to say, I deserve this. Because he hasn't proven to deserve anything. He hasn't yet.
And that's the reality, man. I want to get into some of these trades. We're 20 minutes and we haven't touched on the topic. We can get into Cam Thomas forever.
Mhm.
But you mentioned some teams. You flirted some teams yesterday. I wanted to spend today's show talking about what a trade package, what we would get in return for Cam Thomas, how other teams would value him on most likely what would be a 1-year deal. How would other teams value him? What could we expect to get for Cam Thomas?
Well, that's the problem, right? If it is the qualifying offer, you can't trade him unless if he accepts it.
Unless he agrees to it, which, yeah.
So at that point, now it's like, okay, do you want to allow him to take the qualifying offer? You get screwed in free agency next year when he doesn't come back and leaves for free. Or do you give him a 1-year deal, maybe around 16, 17 million, right? Give him the 1-year deal to where you can trade him, but he's also able to reach the unrestricted market next year as well. Something that
can we just address this because this pisses me off. I hate this. This is the same Nick Claxton argument. Is Michael Porter Jr. worth $40 million?
These aren't contracts that the Nets have given out. So it's like, how are you going to say?
But one bad contract doesn't beget another. Is $40 million overpaid for Michael Porter Jr.? Yes, he's probably worth 25. You're overpaying him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when he was the third option on a championship team that won a championship, that $40 million is nothing. You know?
So yeah,
that's like me saying, would I have given $50 million each to Harden, Kyrie, and KD if it meant one championship? Yeah, I would have. I 1,000% would have. You know what I mean? Like if you can win a championship by overpaying for something, yeah, give me the championship. The championship is all that matters.
I'm gonna let Breezy in. Is that cool? I want his side, right? Like, I'm not a Cam Thomas hater. I wore a Cam Thomas jersey yesterday in support of Cam Thomas. I'm gonna give him the link real quick.
Yeah, I think people think that I don't want Cam Thomas back here either. Like, I want him back here, but I'm not overpaying for a guy that hasn't proven himself. No, especially while you're rebuilding and your main goal is to be financially flexible for an all-star caliber free agency class in 2027. That is the only thing that matters to me currently. There is not a single player on this team that I feel is worth messing that up for. So, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Says shout out John says Giddey is not an NBA starter, maybe a sixth man.
That's beyond blasphemy.
I don't. Yeah. Okay.
18, 8, and 8 in the second half of the season. That's.
And he shot the ball. If he shoots the ball, he's a borderline all-star player. I mean, he shot the ball at a respectable level last year.
He did.
Yeah. If you ask 30 GMs, you can give $25 million to either Cam Thomas or Josh Giddey. Who would you give the $25 million to? What are 30 GMs going to say?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
if you ask 30 GMs, you can give $25 million to one of these two players, Josh Giddey or Cam Thomas. Who would they give the $25 million to?
You're giving it to Josh Giddey every
single one of them without hesitation.
It's not debatable. Like, think about it. Cam Thomas puts up 23.5 points. Okay, Giddey puts up what, 16 to 18, but you're also getting 6 to 8 assists per game from that. If you
6 to 8 rebounds, yeah.
If you're accounting just 2 pointers on those 6 assists, that's an extra 12 points a game that he's generating through his offensive play.
And half of them in today's game were threes, so you could
exactly. Now you're looking at borderline maybe 17 to 20 plus more points he's generating in offense just from playmaking on top of that 16 to 18 he's putting up a game. Yes, he's more valuable than Cam Thomas. I don't think anybody's debating that, though. I mean, that's not a knock on Cam. That's just Josh Giddey's a better overall player currently. You know, you can't take away 18, 8, and 8 compared to 23, 3, and 3. That's very different.
Breezy, we got Breezy here. Shout out Breezy. Do a little commercial, and I know you want to get in on this. Tell us why we're wrong, and that Cam Thomas should get $25 million.
Oh nah. Well, y'all can follow me on Big Fan Breezy on YouTube and X. My soliloquy more the teammate aspect of it. The business side, I do more listening. You know what I mean? I wish they square it away and, so we could see them actually play basketball together. I want my soliloquy to be, I don't want Cam Thomas on this team because he's not a good fit with these rookies. Or I want Cam Thomas on this team because he is a good fit on these rookies with the rookies. So I kind of want the offseason, not the rush, but I kind of want to see the basketball being played between the rookies. The whole thing about what he should get, I don't really want to see him get low balls because to Dylan's point, Sean Marks hasn't paid anybody adequately. You know what I mean? He probably overpaid Claxton, he overpaid Joe Harris, he overpaid players, and he underpaid players. The only person who probably got the most accurate contract is Kevin Durant. Outside of Kevin Durant, I can't think of anybody where they were just accurate. Like, yeah, he deserves that money because of his productivity and yada yada whoop de whoop. So that's more of what I'm saying. Like, I'm listening to y'all, you know what I mean? Shout to y'all, you know what I mean? I see the pod growing. I see, you know what I mean? Y'all putting in the work. So shout to y'all, man. I enjoy the podcast. I'm not here necessarily to debate the money. I just wish that they could find common ground. And yeah, I don't want to see him get lowballed. But more to my point though, Gary, I want to see them play basketball, and I don't want to see him get traded before he ever get a chance to play basketball with the rookies. That's more what I'm against. You know what I'm saying? I'm against that. Opposed to anything else.
No, that makes sense, and I agree. Like I've said throughout this entire process, I have wanted Cam Thomas back. My initial offer that I would have been happy with at the start of free agency was 3-year team or player option at around $20 million a year. That I would have been more than okay with, because you're not breaking the bank. You're also setting that contract up to expire for when the 2027 offseason comes. I'm more than okay with that. You know what I mean? But now you're 26 days into free agency. Not a single person has offered him a contract. Not a single person has shown interest in offering him a contract, and no other team has the cap space to do so. When you wait this long trying to gain money for yourself, and it's not working and teams are dwindling of interest, your price goes lower, because now you've put yourself in a position where you have no say in what you want because nobody else wants you. And that's why now my offer is around, you know what? Give him a 2-year deal straight up, no options, at $15 million a year. If that's the offer that he takes, I'm fine with that, because again, it lines up with the 2027 offseason.
Let me respond, Bruce. I want to hear, because me and Dylan are just going to echo each other here. So let me hear from you, Breezy.
I mean, yeah. I want him to ink. I want ink the paper so that way we could focus on what he looks like with the rookies. Until then, it's going to be this big mess about how much he get paid. But do I agree with Dylan? Should he ink the deal to 2027? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not big on the money, but I did feel $6 million doesn't benefit anybody. The qualifying offer doesn't benefit anybody, because if he decides to stay, he don't, but like a no trade clause, and then you know what I mean. It'll just be more fans, players, coaches in the front office going to be disgruntled. So nobody wants to be where they not wanted. You feel what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily want him to take the qualifying offer. And now I don't, based on, and this is not contingent on the stats PPG that he just mentioned, the rebounds. This is more the games played. All of the accolades that he possibly could have got, it could have only been one season, because you have to play 65 plus games to receive any of this. So he has one season out of 4 seasons, you know what I'm saying, that he played over 65 games. So, I think that goes against him with his negotiations, So, again, like I said, I want Cam Thomas and his camp, too, to kind of get past it, too, to kind of focus on basketball, because, in my opinion, him being 23 years old, this isn't the last time that he can have a big contract. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be other opportunities where he can get a big contract. And I kind of want him to, you know what I mean, go forward knowing that this isn't the end all be all. Like, I can still get big money in the NBA if I don't sign right now. And, it's unfortunate, because I think the NBA is watching other free agents that might want to come here, and they seeing how they handling the situation with Cam Thomas. So I don't want, talent that could really help us become a championship roster. Look at Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, and frown upon the way they do business. You feel what I'm saying? Because ultimately, it isn't all about Cam Thomas. It's about the perception of how, KD jumped out and said, fire the head coach and the GM if you want me back. That's just a bad look. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I want us to be looked at through a different lens. And I think them handling this contract the right way it's going to be, or however they handle this contract, it's going to be steps in either of those directions. So I just want it to be amicable for both Cam Thomas and the front office. And right now, I don't know. I feel like we had a stalemate, and you know what I mean. Cam Thomas deleted all his IG content. A fan like me, it bothered me as soon as I heard about it. Then I didn't even want to believe it. I went to go check for myself, and then I seen it, and it was just like, damn, you know what I mean. So I'm at a perplexed situation as a fan, you know what I mean, because I kind of want him to get the most he could get, but I understand the best thing for him to do is just take the highest offer the Nets is giving you. And my thing is, to Dylan's point, it's a team option, right? So the Nets have the advantage, you know what I'm saying, in that situation with it being a team option. Maybe the only thing that I would say they could finagle, see if they could finagle a player option. If they could maybe finagle the same deal with a player option, I will be more likely to say, you know what I mean? I still want him to take the deal with the team option, but maybe he could work something out where he gets a player option with that said deal. And I don't know. I don't think the money will change. I don't think he makes $20 million.
Let me get your thoughts on this, because I thought the contract that the Nets offered him was as close to an insult as possible without directly insulting him, right? We lost Breezy. I wanted his take on that. Shoot.
I was gonna say he may be at work. He may have had to pop off.
Okay, I thought the contract was as close to an insult as it could possibly insult her. You know, it's like tippy toeing on the lineup, especially with the team option, not the player option for the year. It's like, if we want you back at $14 million, then we can exercise the right to bring you back at $14 million. To me, it's borderline disrespectful, and I wanted. It's just Breezy's not here. I wanted your take on that.
What, that the initial contract?
Yeah, it is a contract. It's not directly insulting, but it's borderlining on insulting. It's like it's yeah.
I mean, is it insulting? Maybe to him, but is it insulting in the sense that what the market currently looks like, what the offers currently look like? It's like, what do you want? You want to make, $6 to $8 million on the qualifying offer this year, or do you want to make $14 million?
When they offered that to him, did you think that he was going to sign? Was there any possibility that he may sign it?
I mean, we saw a similar situation with Nick Claxton where he did sign it. So,
but Nick Claxton was given the same contract basically that Detroit offered him.
No. I'm talking the year prior when, or 2 years prior when he took on the 2-year deal for right. It was like what, 11 to 12 million. It was like a mid-level exception, and he took that offer. He played out the 2 years. He, improved as a defender, and he got paid. It's like a similar situation with that. But again, this is where I have there are certain players who will work for it, and there are certain players who are arrogant enough to think they deserve it now.
To me, it's like buying
a talking about DeJounte Murray?
No. It's to me, that offer that they made to him was like buying a girl in a dress like 10 sizes too big for her here, or buying her a bra that's an A cup. It's like, this is what you think I am? Like it's borderline like well, I don't know. Is this not right? Like, it's borderline insulting without directly insulting her, right? Like,
I want Gary. Can you say the example again? That was my wife. I had to answer that or
yeah, I got you. All right. So the contract the Nets offered him, the 2-year contract with the player extension, with the team option, to me is borderline insulting. He's not going to sign it. There's no chance, and it's saying we want an option to bring you back at $14 million next year if we think you're worth it. Like, that's borderline insulting, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, listen, again, the whole thing is being technical. The negotiations is built on the numbers. It's not about his quote unquote high character. They didn't say, oh, we seen you hold that lady hand across the street. No, it's numbers. And he only had 1 year. We played over 65 games, and that year he didn't become an all-star. Cam Thomas does not have leverage to negotiate it. As one of his biggest fans, I'm saying that he just doesn't have leverage to negotiate. If he had all 4 seasons over 65 games, maybe and just maybe made one All-Star game or one NBA, you know what I'm saying, All NBA team, then yeah, I will be, you know what I mean, yelling to the high heavens, pay this man more money. But realistically, the way the business is, he should just take it and ball out.
I agree.
I think it is disrespectful. Yes, I think he should get more. But just not what I think, just the reality of it, ain't the deal. You know what I'm saying? Ain't the deal. Let's play some basketball. Let's see Cam Thomas in preseason with the rookies. Let's see him. You know what I mean? And see what happens.
That if you take the 2-year deal, if you take the deal that was offered, which is the 14.1 million 2-year team option, you can get extended. Like the following season, if you play up to par and you exceed the expectation of that 14 million, they can extend you to where after that final year of the 14 million is up, you can get paid what you wanted, right? Like they can extend you mid-season and you could start getting paid the money that you wanted the following season to start 2027. But that's the thing. And even if it doesn't work out, they can decline his team option and send him to unrestricted free agency. They can accept the team option and they can trade him to a team that's going to value him more. Either way, he's getting paid more than what the qualifying offer is. And say that he does have another season this year where he's injured, he doesn't show any forms of improvement, his efficiencies still look below league average, then you're looking at the same situation as you were in this year. So I think that I don't know if this is on his end or on his agent's end. And I said this yesterday when we were talking about this, but his representation is horrible. They're putting him in such a bad position to where he is going to get screwed long term if he doesn't take something now.
Yeah, I don't want him to be pegged as this difficult player to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to have that rapport around the league. I kind of want him. I mean, because I feel like he dealt with the New York media as best as a rookie could. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just want him to keep a good rapport as a professional. You know, it's one thing to be an athlete. Yeah, he's an athlete, but I want him to be represented. I mean, you know, I want him to have a good rapport as a professional as well, not just a athlete. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I want to see him do good business. I do. I really do.
All right, I do want to, Breeze. You got a few minutes. You can hang on with us.
Huh?
Breeze. Yeah, I said you good. You got a few minutes. You can hang on. You can hang around with us.
Yeah,
You gotta go. Yeah,
I'm just
cool.
on mute, so y'all don't hear no background noise.
Perfect. All right, Dale, I want to get into some of these trade propositions. Where could we trade him to? We talked about Memphis. We talked about Detroit. We talked about a few other teams. Kind of break us down and let's look at what we might be able to get in return.
Yeah, I mean, the two teams that I'm linking him to, just again, based on my past with trying to predict things and seeing what certain teams need, the two teams that make the most sense as of right now is Memphis and Detroit. There have been Jaden Ivey rumors just about Detroit in general, potentially looking to move him. There's no specific links to him and Brooklyn or vice versa. That's more so just on my end, trying to put 2 and 2 together. But if you look at the contract that Ivey's on at $10.1 million a year this upcoming season, it is an expiring deal. It aligns with kind of what both sides are looking for, which is a youthful player, flexibility, but also somebody that may be a better fit than Thomas on this team, while Detroit may be looking at, an upgrade at the scoring spot at the shooting guard to kind of play off of Cade Cunningham and his playmaking abilities. So I link those two together just based on those reports and what I think would make a lot of sense. And then on the Memphis side of things, they just got a haul of picks in return for Desmond Bane. There was reports initially when they traded Bane that they're not done, that they are looking to potentially use some of those picks to move up, whether that was in the draft, which we saw them do, or if it's for another player or an upgrade. I think Thomas is a good fit in Memphis just simply because they have the defensive player or former defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson, who will be back after his injury. They have Zach Edey, who, is 7'4", can guard the paint. And then they also have Ja as of right now, which Thomas and Ja may not be a great duo specifically, but with the situation going on in Memphis and their lack of winning just based on injury, suspensions, all those types of things, at some point you'd have to think Ja is a player that's going to get moved here in the near future. So if you can add Cam Thomas to that team to kind of pair as a trio with Jaren Jackson and Edey to build out the rest of the roster with whatever they get in return for Ja later on, I think that could also make a little bit of sense. So the two deals that I was looking at, which I also just wrote about on Substack. If you guys want to check that out, the link is on my Instagram story. It's also on Twitter. It's the pin tweet. But the first offer was with Detroit. It's Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson heading to Detroit, Jaden Ivey, and a top 8 protected 2026 first-round pick heading to Brooklyn. And the Memphis deal was Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson to Memphis, John Conchard, Gigi Jackson, a 2026 lottery protected first, and a 2028 first-round pick swap. Again, it's hard to kind of tell what the exact value is of Thomas. I see.
Let me ask you a question, though. Let's say we took that from lottery protected to the top 8 protected and took off the pick swap. I'd rather do that. What are your thoughts on that? So you take off the pick swap and then move the protection down from top lottery to top 8 protected.
I think what you're kind of hoping for there is, as of right now, Gigi Jackson and John Contra are nowhere near the players of what Jaden Ivey is, which is why I do have the swap being included in there, because Memphis is kind of on that 50-50 of whether or not they're going to be, a high-end play-in team, a potential playoff team, or if they're going to be bottoming out potentially. So I think the lottery protected pick is kind of just more so, hey, hopefully you make the play-in and you win a game, so this way you're not in the lottery. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of it on that end. But I mean, you could, if Memphis bottoms out and gets that top 8 pick and we have nothing else to show for, right, then that kind of makes us look bad too. So I think with how Memphis's draft capital is and their kind of current situation with trying to build a roster around Ja, at least for this season, I think maybe throwing in the extra first doesn't hurt them.
Let me get Breezy's reaction. So we'll start with the Detroit trade. Give Breezy, run down real quick the Detroit trade. Breezy, what are your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, it's Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson to Detroit for Jaden Ivey and a 2026 first-round pick, top 8 protected.
Top 8 protected, so this speaks players. The top 8, that means if it's top 8, they get the pick. If it's 9 and up, we get it?
Yep.
Correct.
I don't know enough about next year's draft to say yes to that.
It's just as good, if not better, than this year's draft, as of right now.
So if we were to get a nice pick next year, we would be good?
By far. Yeah. I mean, if you can get, let's be honest, Cam Thomas in Detroit, with how weak the East is currently and how well they did last year.
They're a top 4 team. Easy.
They're going to be, they're probably, I would say they're a top 6 team, like Orlando, Cleveland, New York. There's a couple of teams, maybe Toronto, Philly, they make a push in there, but yeah, Detroit should be a top 6 team without a doubt. So to me, I would think they're probably in between the pick range of like 19 and 24, which again, not a flashy pick, but if you can get an additional pick in next year's draft with hopefully a top 5 pick of your own, that kind of ends your rebuild right there, at least specifically through the draft.
I would push for a higher lottery pick. You know what I mean? If I was even considering it. And my thing with the Jaden Ivey is, you guys are right about him being a good player, but with him averaging north of 5 assists, you don't think he's going to take the ball out of Nolan hands, Jaeger hands? Not to say who cares about Ben Surratt, but he's like my least favorite player we drafted. I'm just saying. Yeah. But the first 2, you need the ball in their hands. I don't see a world where Jaden Ivey isn't taking opportunity shots and you know what I'm saying, away from Nolan and Jaeger. Like, y'all see that, them coexisting? Yeah, I don't see how that happens between Ivey, Nolan, and Jaeger.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is with Ivey is we've seen him play off ball to Cade. So I don't think there's really an issue with him playing off ball to Jaeger and Michael Porter Jr. And the thing with Ivey is he's the same age as Thomas. He is practically the same height as Thomas. But the difference is that he can defend at a very, I wouldn't say high caliber, but definitely above league average caliber for his height and position. And I think that overall he's just a better fit next to a guy like Michael Porter Jr. Again, the goal next year isn't to be a play-in team just yet. It's not to be a playoff team. You're still looking to try and be a bottom 5 team. So this way you can get that top tier pick. So to me, the Ivey for Cam Thomas swap, it's not much of a difference in terms of impact on winning, but long-term, is Ivey a more impactful player than Cam Thomas is currently? Potentially. And that's just based on the fact that he could give you 20 points a game. This past season, he gave you 17, and he can also, improve as a defender, which he already is an improvement as a defender over Cam Thomas. So, I just think overall, long-term, he's a better fit if you want to keep a guy of that age and skill set on the team long-term.
No, I wouldn't bend on that though, bro. I wouldn't bend on that top 8. I would say top 5, bro. They after all of this shit that I, as a content creator, and again, I'm speaking from a fan perspective, not the front office. From a fan perspective, to go through 82 games, recapping it, and having a record like that, I would add minimum to ease my next in soul. Need a top 5, I would say top 3, but I ain't gonna take it there. But top 5 protected lottery pick. Yeah, I need that, bro. The Detroit Pistons. They've been in the lottery. They've been rebuilding for years. That's how they got Ivy. That's how they got Durant. That's how they got Cade Cunningham. They should not be worried about draft picks at all. You know, we should be able to bargain, negotiate a top 3 or a top 5 pick. But that's it. That's all I got. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know what I'm saying. I don't have nothing bad to say about Jaden Ivey. But the Memphis Grizzlies thing with Gigi Jackson, I don't know if Gigi Jackson is the equivalent scorer to Cam Thomas. I feel like
No,
the
I
Detroit
definitely don't.
Pistons is. I don't know. I didn't see enough basketball play from him to agree or disagree. But what I will say is that what was the lottery pick that we would get from them?
It would be lottery protected. So it would be top 14 protected. Really, it's more so like you have to hope that they make the play-in and win a game, so this way you can get that pick. But if not, then you get the 2028 first-round pick swap. So it's kind of like you're betting. It's kind of like you're betting on a second first. You know.
I mean, I think I could. It would eat. I could deal with the Piston trade, but I wouldn't do that Memphis trade at all. I would say no to the Memphis trade, and I guess I would have to, you know what I'm saying, deal with the Detroit trade. Not that because I don't want it. I want Cam Thomas to be happy here. But if I had to choose between one of the two, I wouldn't choose both trades. I would choose the Piston trade if I had to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with either, personally.
That's the first time. That's number one for me. Talking with my muted. So
yeah, I mean,
Breeze, if you were the GM, if I gave you the GM hat and said you run this team, you would not make either trade. Is that correct?
If I was the GM, I probably would have did a lot of things different. But right now in this situation,
yeah,
right now I would. You know what I'm saying? I would sit down with Cam for one. You know what I mean? And not let social media be the conduit on how we connect with one another. Because I've seen it go bad with Kyrie in the front office. I would have learned my lessons from that, and I would ask him to come in. Like, come sit down with us. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to meet halfway. You know what I mean? I want you to, and also, I want to reflect the good rapport to the free agent.
Maybe losing you, Breeze.
We're losing Breezy a little bit right now. All right. Look, it's interesting. If I was
current players and ex-NBA players go through, they're very vocal about the business and how it happens. You know what I'm saying? So I would try to just have a good rapport with players and be very professional as possible. You know, that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, to answer your question more specifically, I would try to work something out to make Cam Thomas happy. I wouldn't be a fool for him. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't just say, you know what I mean? Like, you could have everything and nobody gets nothing, just you. And it's only thing that's happening is only about you. You know what I mean? Because he's a player. He's not the whole entire team. But I definitely would try to find a more of a stronger communication connection. Because right now, it seems like, you know what I'm saying, they really having conversations.
Yeah, I think his service is cutting out. Yeah, I mean, if it was my decision, I think both trades are solid. Like, realistically, if you're talking about Cam Thomas not wanting to be here long term, the Nets not wanting to have him here long term, you know, I don't think that it's in the best interest to try and keep this going. But
I've been saying this for a while. Sometimes it's best to yank the Band-Aid off. He's not going to be here. We don't want him here. Why are we messing around? Why are we playing with our food? Just pull the Band-Aid off. Really, just pull the Band-Aid off and let this be over with. He's not going to be here. They don't want him here. I'm not saying what I want. I'm just reflecting the reality of the matter is that the Nets never wanted him here, don't value him, and if we can get that Detroit Pistons trade for him, I'd make the trade in a heartbeat.
Can I ask y'all something? Can I ask Gary and Dylan? I want to ask y'all something. Like, how attractive is the Brooklyn Nets outside of having cap space to free agents that want to play here, contingent on what Sean Marks has done with players that came here under his tenure?
Well,
how attractive are we to these players?
Well, realistically, though, the Kyrie thing was the owner, and it was also Kyrie. You know, both of them were really shitty at what they were doing on both ends of things. So I don't think that really matters. I know you see, yeah.
Who is this guy? Who is this?
That's probably Big Homie's fifth account. Yeah, what's it called? The Kyrie Joe Tsai thing, that was on both of them. That's not Sean Marks. KD, that I'll probably say is more on Sean Marks because he didn't do what was necessary to build the winning team around him. And it seemed like the relationship on their end wasn't the greatest either. Harden, that was Harden, and that was also more so Kyrie, and that's kind of openly been admitted to now. So I don't really blame everything on Marks for that era. What has happened since then, I can kind of say I think is a bit on Marks not trading. I would not have given the Knicks Mikal. I would have just straight up given him to Houston for our picks back. I think that would have been, a better option overall, just with what the return was that you could get back for him. But I can't blame everything on him.
But didn't they have all types of protections on him? And didn't Houston have all types of protections on him?
Like, well, I mean, that's what negotiation is, right? Like, if you really want Mikal Bridges, okay, give us our 25 and 26 pack like you did, and then give us our 2027 back as well. You can add a protection onto it if you want, and then throw in a guy like Jabari and somebody else, and we'll give you a Suns pick included into that. Like that would have, to me, that would have just been a better route if you could have kept more of those Suns picks with you, especially the 2025 one ultimately became a top 10 pick. But yeah, I mean, there was numerous different ways I would have went about that for sure.
If you could have got all your picks back from Houston and we get to reset, I'd have done that too. If that's possible, I do blame Mark because you're the GM, right?
Like if you do the same exact package to Houston, but you take out the 2025 Suns pick and you get your 2027 pick back with a protection. I mean, I'm doing it every day. You're telling me that we could have had pick 8, pick 10, and then the Sun swap that we have in 2028 or 2029, whatever it is, plus our 2026 and 2027 pick back potentially. Like, yeah, I'm taking that deal over the next picks all day long, without a doubt.
All right. We're kind of winding down here. So you guys breathed it out on both trades if it was up to him, but he preferred the Detroit trade. I'm kind of in the same position. Dylan, would you make either one of those trades? Make both of them if you could? Like
I said, with the current situation, if he comes into my office and says, I don't want to be here long-term because I feel you don't want me to be here long-term, and I'm not going to accept this deal, and I'm prepared to accept the qualifying offer, then yes, I would accept both deals. I think G.G. Jackson has upside. Is he going to be of the same caliber scorer as Cam Thomas? Most likely not, but you're talking about a 6'9" wing who came into the league at 18 years old. I think he's 20 right now. He turns 21 in late October. With his body frame at the wing position, that's something that we kind of need this year. Would I take the risk on that? Yes, especially if it came with the picks attached to it. Jaden Ivey for Cam Thomas, that to me is a perfect swap. You're getting a slightly lesser scorer, but a better defender, and a guy who maybe fits better on this team long term. Yeah, I'm probably going to take that, especially if Cam Thomas says that he doesn't want to be here long term.
That was my next question, because it seems like there's something to that trade, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or anything, but like there seems Detroit's been interested in Cam Thomas for a while. Jaden Ivey does kind of seem to fit better here in what the Nets are trying to do. That trade seems to have some legs to it. I don't know if those are the exact details, but hey, Jaden Ivey, his role here in Brooklyn, what does that look like?
I think it's kind of similar role to, kind of a similar role to what Michael Porter Jr.'s is going to be, like a veteran presence, but a slightly younger version. I think it's a guy that they can look to improve on, and potentially make into something a bit better than what he currently is. You know, like Ivy, 7-point difference in scoring per game, but again, just a better defender. So I think the pairing of him with Michael Porter Jr. plus the rookies that we have, I definitely think that's something that fits a bit better long term.
The effort on defense was better last year for Cam Thomas. Recognizing double teams and kicking the ball out was better last year for Cam Thomas. I'm not saying it's good. I'm simply saying it's better. Is there a reason to suspect that Cam Thomas may continue in that direction? It may continue to improve on his weaknesses.
Do I think that he can continue to improve on them?
Do you think he's going to? Yeah.
Probably not.
Breezy?
Yeah, I mean, I think with all of the talking heads like Zach Lowe and, you know what I mean, all of these people critiquing his game and more of it being his defense and lack of effort, I think as a professional athlete, he has to cater to that. You know what I'm saying? He can't just be like, oh, I'm a bucket and nothing else matters. This is why I pushed back when they said that's all he do, because he became a better rebounder. And it was, even if it's selfishly, he became a better rebounder so he could be the first one with the basketball. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't offensive rebounds; it was defensive rebounds. He wasn't a great rebounder, but he did improve on the defensive rebounder. And I said that to you, Gary, to say the main thing is he has to focus on, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball, is closeouts. When that ball is in motion around the 3-point line and they looking for the open shooter and it comes towards Cam Thomas, who he's guarding in the zone or man, he has to be able to contest that 3-pointer, run that player off of the 3-point line, make him pump fake and do something else. But him with the lazy closeout, that has to get better. The whole league is on notice about his defense, and they saying that his offense is not going to carry his defense. And I think he's going to have to be adamant about, closeouts. I think that's the main knock on him. Even if they, like, I don't know, trying to search for him in a mismatch, that it's a team defense. I think it's irresponsible for the defense to just leave your smallest guy in a one-on-one situation, knowing he's the best scorer on the team. So they're going to hunt him to get him in foul trouble anyway. So that's my thing, too. Don't leave him on an island where he got to foul a guy to stop the guy. Yeah, I need to be having Nick. This is where Nick Claxton needs to earn his keep. You the weak side help. If you see Cam Thomas in a one-on-one situation, you need to deny that. You need to force the ball out of that player's hands or make him shoot over 2 defenders. So some of it is Cam Thomas. Some of it is his teammates leaving him hung out to dry, for lack of better words. So we'll see. You know what I mean? But to answer your question directly, he has to close down on 3-pointers better than he did last season.
All right. I guess we're ready to close out. Any final thoughts, Dylan, Breezy? Any final thoughts here?
I mean, I think if there's to be any form of Cam Thomas real news, not just the back and forth bullshit reports, I think it's going to come within the next week. I mean, what are we at? July 26th? This should not be getting dragged into mid-August. So if it was my guess, I think something gets announced here within the week, whether that's they're going to work with him on a sign and trade, he's accepting the qualifying offer, or they're going to figure out a long-term deal. When I say long-term, I think 2 or 3 years. But
2 years or more. I do want to ask this question. If Cam took the qualifying offer, they say he likes it here in Brooklyn, that he likes Brooklyn. Would he play hardball and decline any trade because he'd have to approve the trade? Would he decline any trade, or it's like, all right, it's my contract. If I get a chance to shine in the playoffs, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna approve any trade where they're shipping me to a playoff team.
I think the only way that works is if it's a team that he wants to go to and a team that his representation wants him to go to. If you're thinking of it in that sense, his agent is Giannis's agent. Would the only team that he wants to go to is Milwaukee because that's where his representation wants him. That's the team that, may pay him and build around him from when they inevitably trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, whether that's this upcoming off season or the year following when his contract expires. So, yeah, I mean, would he accept a trade? I'm probably about 90% sure he wouldn't, because I think that if you're going to be disrespected, or at least what he feels is disrespected, then you're going to want to screw the team that's trying to do this to you. So,
but you could end up screwing you're saying you're cutting nose to spite face. You know what I'm saying? You're still screwing yourself.
He's learned from 3 of the pettiest players in basketball.
Yeah, but those guys got paid. You haven't gotten paid yet, homie. You need to get paid.
But
then
Kyrie tried to screw the Nets, and then ultimately got sent to a team that he considerably didn't want to go to, that considerably didn't pay him what he wanted, and is now injured, and still not getting the money that he originally wanted. So, long term, yeah, Kyrie got screwed. He could have accepted that $45+ million 3-4 year deal that we were offering him, which was incentivized. But regardless, play the fucking game. Don't do stupid shit. And stay healthy, and you earn your money. That's how every contract in sports should be. You shouldn't be making money to sit down injured for years like Ben Simmons was, or like Kyrie was. There's incentivized contracts aren't a bad thing. That's not a disrespect towards the player. That's just a business owner saying, do your job, do it correctly, and stay healthy. That's not much to ask for if you really care about the game of basketball, which Kyrie has shown time and time again he doesn't. So, if it was my choice, yeah, you probably want to incentivize the contract if you're going to bring him back for a little bit more money. Make an all-star game. You'll earn an extra $5 million this year. Simple things like that. Play 60+ games. You'll earn an extra $3 million this year. If you want to make it an incentivized contract, I'm all for it if it goes up to $22 million. But put some incentives on it.
Let me get Breezy's take on this. Breezy, if Cam took the qualifying offer, 1 year, $6 million, would he play hardball and decline any trade? I don't think he would, but because it doesn't behoove him long term. It behooves him. To me, the only way he gets that contract he wants is if he goes to the playoffs, scores 20 points a game in the playoffs, and shows that he can score a bunch of points off the bench or in a role in the playoffs. He can legitimately score in the playoffs. To me, that's the only way he gets his $25 million. So would he play hardball and decline any trade to stick it to the Nets, or would he be willing and accept any trade that puts him on a playoff team?
I don't know. I just want to see him play with the rookies. You know what I'm saying? I wanna see some basketball being played, and I just gotta say this. And I'm part of the media, but basketball will forever be bigger than the media, and I don't want even my voice or podcast to be bigger than basketball. Like, I'm here because of basketball. I don't want to get carried away with all of these conversations because I enjoy basketball. You know what I mean? This whole business side of it, I'm learning it. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got, Gary. I'm just waiting for some basketball to be played.
I'm with you. All right. I'm going to close this out. Breezy, go ahead and do a little commercial. Appreciate it. I always appreciate you jumping on, my man.
No, likewise. Shout out to Gary and Dylan. Great show. Y'all can find me at Big Fan Breezy on YouTube or X. And yeah, man, if it's 5 people that ain't subscribed, man. I'm at 995. I'm trying to get to 1,000. And y'all probably could find me in the chat. The next show that these guys do, man. It's a great show.
Dylan, when can we come back? When are you free next?
Breeze, you going live tonight?
Yeah, I got dad duty, but I'm gonna try to go live tonight for sure.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for it. I'll try and tune.
We're gonna try it, yeah.
All right, I'll let y'all know.
For sure.
I just got off work. As soon as I come home, I gotta go right back outside for dad duty. So I'm gonna be asleep, man. I'm gonna try to get up and do something though.
Sleep is for the weak, man. No need to sleep. Dylan, when are you free? When are we going live again?
I should be good to go. I mean, I could probably go tomorrow morning, but there's really not much to talk about. Let's shoot for sometime Monday. We'll talk.
All right. Sounds good, y'all. All right. Dylan, Breezy, it's a pleasure. It's July 26, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all. God bless.